Source, God, universe, creator, which was fragmented into all of us, shattered into infinite little pieces that we can call everything within our existence. Since then, we've been seeking to unite with one another and reconnect with source creation by integration and connection. Oneness consciousness is one of the most divine notions that we can think of. To understand oneness consciousness is to understand source creation that includes everything and is inclusive to everything, just like light. Light includes all the colors of the spectrum. It is made of all the colors of the spectrum, and it cannot exist without the individuality and uniqueness of all the varied colors of the spectrum. As soon as all the colors become one color, if everything is red, if everything is blue, if everything is purple, light is lost. And then even that one color cannot exist long because it is reliant on the other colors within the spectrum. Purple is made of blue and red, and so on and so forth. Currently, our society is falling prey to the shadow aspect of oneness consciousness. The thing that claims to bring us together, rather sets us apart. Because if one piece of the puzzle is no longer unique to its shape, and it acts exactly like the other piece, it looks the same, it shapes itself the same way, then these two pieces can no longer connect. And if I can't connect to the other, we can no longer integrate into one another. And like mercury drops, reunite and return to source as one. The way for us to become as one is individuality, is boundaries, is character, is differences. Not to think the same, be the same, do the same. Sounds familiar? That's the shadow evil aspect of so-called oneness consciousness. How evil sets us away of oneness consciousness by telling us that if we are the same, we are good. If we are the same, we are godly. If we are the same, it's progression. It is not progressive. It is the absolute opposite. If I can't connect to another shape, to another individual by being myself, by them being themselves, then we remain more and more fragmented and shattered and distant. Two of the same exact pieces cannot match, like two exact same shapes in a puzzle. Similar frequency, alignment in frequency, doesn't mean looking the same. It means having the same connectivity from the heart. The thing that draws the two pieces together. It is passion, it is desire, it is will, it is the dreams that you have in your heart that are unique to you, that you wish to manifest and pursue. That is an energy, that is a frequency that will match the frequency of another that also has the same aspirations to be as much of themselves as they can. The biggest lie of today's society and the biggest danger to our evolution and our true progression and our reconnection with source and oneness consciousness is communism. You must be the same, think the same, do the same. It is when good is called evil and when evil is called good. Evil, the process of fragmentation further and separating us further, is referring to itself as good. We must all be one. We must all be the same. We must all be the same. We must all be one. But true good that wishes for us to reconnect and to integrate and return to source and to be in oneness consciousness talks to you about differences and being different, having different opinions, different points of view, different thought process, different wills, different desires, different aspirations, different gender. Washing off everything, washing off individuality and differences and boundaries of a self is not connection to God or to source. It is not oneness consciousness. It is the illusion of oneness. oneness consciousness. It is how we are becoming even more and more distant from oneness consciousness. And it is incredibly dangerous because it is everywhere. It is in our education, it is in our news, it is in our culture, in our stickers, telling you to be the same, telling you to cancel differences, to cancel uniqueness. You can't say colors anymore, you can't say race anymore, you can't say gender, man, woman, black, white, Asian. These are all definitions that are beautiful in them and of themselves. Every unique difference, every unique blueprint is divine and is part of source. And by integrating the differences, aka living together in peace and harmony and with empathy to the other, that is how we reconnect with source. And that is oneness consciousness, or should I say oneness consciousness. The reason why I emphasize the heart over the mind in relation to oneness consciousness is because the reason we fall prey as good people to communism as oneness consciousness is because we have shunned our heart and have only connected to the mind and to ideologies of goodness and goodnessness from our cognition and our mentality. And this is where we fall into fragmentation even further, because the mind is not meant to understand other differentialities. The mind is meant to understand itself and to help you operate within the world. And the best way for the mind to operate within the world is if there is an agreement between it and other minds, aka mind hive, which is very much so like communism, thinking the same. If you think the same as I do, I don't need to have a conversation or an argument or making any sort of effort. I just have what I think is best. However, the heart has no such aspirations. The heart doesn't have to go through an effort in order to accept something different, because the heart fathoms pain. When you fathom your own pain, it is inevitable for you to also fathom the pain of the other. And when you understand the pain of the other, you understand their need to remain as they are. Because when we can't express ourselves fully as we are, it hurts, it pains. The mind does not acknowledge it. The mind wants you to be as it is in order for it to be comfortable. The heart doesn't need that. The heart understands that if I can't express myself as I am in the world, it will hurt my existence and I will feel pain. And so I will never ask you to be anything different than the glorious of who you are, than the gloriousness or the glory of who you are, truly, as a unique personality and individual. And the way we lose track of our empathy is by losing track of our pain. And the way we lose track of our pain is when it's too much to bear, so we suppress it, so we go to the mind. People who fall prey to communism as if it's oneness consciousness aren't evil in their heart, but they operate as puppets to evil. And the only way to break out of it is if every single person addresses how they feel truly, in the full spectrum, from pain through joy and everything that is in between, and acknowledge it to themselves. This is how I feel. And once I know truly how I feel, good or bad, painful or joyous, I no longer have the desire to control someone else's behavior or the way they think, hence the way they behave, and so on and so forth. I know the pain of being forced to be anything other than what I am. Hence, I will never cause the same pain to another and expect them to be anything different than the way they are. So, suppressing the heart, suppressing the emotion, that starts with suppressing pain, because that's the only reason why we suppress emotion and close off our heart, because it hurts too much. But the result of it is very, very dangerous and inevitably will cause more pain, because it forces us to even drift further than ourselves, than source, than onenessness, and then our entire existence is full of pain. Maybe not extreme pain, but the pain of numbness, and indifference and apathy. So the way we fall to the shadow of onenessness, aka communism, is if we fall prey to only being in the mind. Thus we think everything needs to be the same, thus ideologically everything is the same, thus it is good. But once we feel, truly feel, we understand immediately how wrong that is. And we break it apart in order to bring us together. So in order to know the difference between communism and oneness consciousness, when you face it in your society, in your environment, in your culture, is by addressing your own heart and feeling everything, including the pain. Most importantly, the pain. And then your system will be rewired to connecting from here, from empathy, because you're connected to yourself from here, hence you will be connected to others from here. And then you'll immediately know and recognize what is true oneness consciousness and what is false. You won't even have to think it, because you will feel it. The true glue to our fragmented existence, is empathy. And empathy sits at the heart. It's just another way of showing you the importance of your emotions and your connection to yourself, because that's how you connect to another. And by connecting to another through empathy, you create the glue between yourself and the other. The pieces of the puzzle connect, and then you become closer to source. On the other hand, being only in the mind and suppressing the heart will give you the illusion of connecting to the other, when in fact you are suppressing the other, controlling the other, swallowing the energy of the other in order to be the only one. You being the only one is not oneness consciousness. You being the only one, the way you think, the way you believe, and forcing it onto others, is being one piece of the puzzle. And if one piece of the puzzle overrides everything else and cancels everything else and just creates copies of itself, it will forever be lost, because it will have nothing to connect to. We are on a path there. Don't let that happen. Namaste.